Today we're going to learn about contract clauses and bonuses, so that should be fun. Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome to my tutorial on contracts in Football Manager 2022. Now if you are new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe and of course hit thumbs up if you find this video helpful, useful or in any way entertaining so that other people can also find the video. Now as I said, we are going to be doing contracts, just going through all the different options that are available to you in a contract, and we're going to be doing it by offering an extension to Ashley Young because he's 35 and who doesn't want a 35-year-old footballer with an extension? So the first screen that you get is this promises screen. Now, I always try and have as few promises as possible because you can only really break a promise. Mate, you are in your mid-30s. You are a squad player at best. So let's see what happens there. There we go. There we go. So he's agreed to be a squad player. Yeah, I always think with this, you want to try and get it as low down as realistic. I mean, is he going to accept an impact? He may have accepted an impact sub, but I don't really want to use him as an impact sub. Usually I'd say if it's a star player, important player, if it's an important player, regular starter, if it's a regular starter, squad player, and if it's just, or if it's a squad player, go for fringe or emergency backup, just so that playing time is their expectations are a little bit less than in case, they're not working out, just to help solve or prevent problems down the line. So that's the promises screen. We move on now to negotiate the contract, and let's have a look here. So they're going to not make us have a go here. So what I always say if you are negotiating a renewal is just go to the current deal. Now I love a bonus, as if you've watched my channel for a while you will know. This, even for me, is absolutely ridiculous, I've got to say. So let's start with the wage. Are we going to pay him 85 grand as someone over the hill in terms of 30s? No, we're not. So let's try lowballing him down to 45k. So that a 12-month deal. Now these other things here, a loyalty bonus. So that is a sign-on bonus, basically. Now you can see there, it's bonus that's paid to the person, which is spread out over the duration of the contract. So think sign-on bonus that is paid out through the contract. So if it's a 1-year deal, he'll make that. We give him 2.5 over 1 year. If it's a 2-year deal, he'll get that over 2 years. So on and so forth. So if you're extending contracts and there's big loyalty bonuses, you want to obviously spread it out over as many years as possible. But surprise, surprise, if you have an extra contract, the amounts will sometimes go up, and obviously not on this occasion. But yeah, that's just something to be aware of there. The agent fee is exactly what it sounds like. It's what you're paying the agent. Again, you can see it's spread over the length of the deal. You don't want to pay agents anything if you can help it, but try and minimize basically everything, but especially the agent fee. So I don't confuse myself. I've got rid of all the clauses and bonuses that were already there. The one that is guaranteed that he wants in the deal is a 1-year extension after the final year of his contract. So after next season, if he plays 10 games, then he will get an extra year. That is not something that you would necessarily want, but we can't get rid of it. So bear that in mind. If we were to play Ashley Young 10 games as a 36-year-old, he would then get another contract on the same term. So this almost instantly is a contract that I don't want to be offering out. But anyway, let's go through all the bonuses. So an appearance fee basically means if they play in the game, if they come off the bench, or if they start, that is the money that you're going to pay them per appearance. So appearance fees are a good way to keep the weekly wage bill down, but bear in mind that it's going to come out of the budget somewhere. Even if it's not the wage budget, so you can bankrupt the club. All these bonuses can bankrupt the club quite quickly. So you want to not go silly with this, but most times players will request an appearance fee be in the contract. A goal bonus, exactly what it sounds like, a bonus for scoring a goal. An assist bonus is a bonus for scoring or getting an assist. And a clean sheet bonus is a bonus for keeping a clean sheet as a team, not individually, obviously. So that is all very self-explanatory. Team of the Year bonus. Now, this is one that I personally like to, if not max out, certainly have up high. If my player is getting in the Team of the Year for the league, for the division, then I'm more than happy to pay them a massive bonus for that, because that means that they've played well for me throughout the year. So that is one that I do like to have. Now, another one that will be up here if it's a striker or someone who's a more attacking player than a fullback is top goal scorer. Now, and that's another one I like to almost max that out, especially amongst strikers, because you can only have one top goal scorer in the league. So even if you have 7 strikers that you say you're going to pay 5 million to the top goal scorer in the league, only one of them is going to get there at a maximum, if one. So that is a good one to have as a very high bonus, and you have motivated strikers that way as well. I always think just any bonuses, you're basically paying your players to do well. And that is, I'd rather do that than pay them a weekly wage. International cap bonus, again, exactly what it sounds like. They play for their country. That's what you're paying them per cap. Now, usually there's a limit on how many caps, but it doesn't look like that is the case here. So that would be per cap for, the foreseeable, for the length of the contract. So be careful with that one. That could be one that you get yourself in trouble with financially. Unused substitutes. So if they're named on the bench but they don't come off the bench, you're still paying them a bit of money. You'll find it hard to get rid of that altogether, but try and keep that as low as possible, obviously, particularly if it's a backup goalkeeper or someone like that, because backup goalkeepers are typically not going to come off the bench, though you do kind of need them there. So that is something, again, that you'd want to try and limit if possible. Now, bonuses for cup competitions. Now, I did do a tutorial on structuring a transfer deal. This is kind of the contract version of that. So a bonus for avoiding relegation, qualifying for the Euro Cup, which is of course that's the UEFA Cup, isn't it? No, what's it called now? Europa League. That qualifying for the Champions League and winning the Premier League. Typically, I don't like to individually give out these deals, but if a player wants a bonus for winning the Premier League and we win the Premier League, maybe not 650 grand, but they can have a bonus for that. You just want to be careful not having the entire squad getting bonuses for this, because otherwise you might find yourself in... Why is that there? You might find yourself in a situation where winning the league can essentially bankrupt the club. So you don't want that, obviously. And obviously you can see here, FA Cup reaching certain rounds and Carabao Cup reaching certain rounds as well. Now, where this might be useful is if you're a smaller team and you're trying to incentivize your players to get so far, which is basically what a bonus is for anybody. But yeah, like I say, you can offer them bonuses as a part of pre-season. Your high bonuses for is it Cups League and Europe if you're in Europe. That's where I prefer to have my players getting paid for doing well in Cups and League, not necessarily in their contract. So that's all the bonuses. Now the clauses, wage after reaching a certain amount of games. Now you'll find this is something that particularly young players want. What I would tend to do is say after 15 games and 30 games, is give them a bonus. Now, obviously, for Young, we're not going to be doing that because he's ancient, but that is typically something that you will see players want. As bonus for goals, I do enjoy giving bonuses to players who play well. Now, what I've been starting to do, you can see there's a goal bonus and there is an assist bonus as well. What I've started to do is combining them. So asking for 20 and 30 goals and assists from my attacking players. And if they get there, then I'll pay them. I'll usually put both in a contract. And so if 650 is the 31, I'll give them half to get the halfway, maybe just a little bit over. And, if you're involved directly in 20 or 30 goals, I will pay you a lot of money, and I don't mind doing that. So that's what that clause is. An optional contract extension by the club. This is always a good one to get in there. It's difficult to get the player to agree to it, but a young player who is very, very high potential, when they've signed their first contract, their first professional contract, if you can get a 2-year extension in there, then when their contract's running down, they want the big money, you can trigger the extension and they'll stay. But for somebody who's 35, not necessarily something you're going to want to do. A minimum release fee. Now, a minimum release fee is obviously a fee that, if triggered, the club has to accept. Now, you never really want these. One thing I will do, and if you're following along with when I do my Let's Plays, particularly the Impossible Dream, where we try to build a team up to win the Champions League, I will sometimes throw in a high minimum release fee to kind of force myself to sell a player if that is reached. Now, one thing that it has also been useful, if you find yourself with the chairman accepting bids for players you don't want them to, it was suggested to me once, and it has worked, that if you throw in a 20 or 30 million, or whatever you want it to be really, but something that's feasible but not likely, the chairman is less likely to accept the sort of the 5-6 million bids because that minimum release fee is there. So it does have its uses, but typically you don't want one, certainly a sensible one in the contract. but there are times that players will demand that they won't join you unless it's there, in which case you've just kind of got to do it, don't you? Now, there's other caveats to this. A foreign club, which is obviously a team that doesn't play in your country. A domestic club obviously is a club that does, and then you can have a release fee for clubs that are in Europe. Basically in the Europa League or the Conference League, or a minimum release fee for Champions League clubs. So if a club from the Champions League comes in, it will trigger that, and then they will be able to leave. So again, typically you don't want them there, certainly as I said, a sensible one, but sometimes you don't have a choice and you just want it as high as possible if that's the case. A sell-on percentage fee. So this is, if they have a 25% sell-on percentage, it means that whatever the fees that you sell them for, they'll get 25% of that. I don't think I've ever had a contract where I've put that in. If it's the only way that you're going to get a player across the line is to have it there, then have it as low as possible. Typically 10% is what I found most players, when they ask for it, that's what they'll ask for. But you don't want it there if you can at all help it. The transfer fee is not for them, it's for you. They can get their loyalty bonus from the next club. So avoid where possible. And the final one here is the injury release clause, the Andrew Carroll clause, maybe. If you're signing a player that has a risk of injuries, if they're a little bit older, so in the case of Ashley Young, this is probably something we'd want to try and force in there, so that, if he has a serious injury where he's out for 6-12 months, we probably don't want to keep him at that point, so we'll just be able to release him from his deal. It's an option if you want it there. Like I say, older players, it's probably worth having in there, or players that are injury prone. So, or maybe even if you are taking a bit of a punt on a very, very high wage. So if they're injured, you maybe don't want to pay them at that wage to not play. The problem you're going to have is getting the player to agree to this. You can, of course, lock it in. Whether they would agree to that again is going to be questionable. But that is how you negotiate a contract. And if you found this useful, make sure you hit thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. I'll see you next time for another tutorial, or maybe a Let's Play Queen of the South, trying to win the Champions League with them. So yeah, stick around and check me out there. Take care.